let's stay with school nutrition matters, but take you to Limpopo now. And that's where officials are investigating possible food poisoning at Makahlule Primary School. 35 pupils were taken to hospital there. Now, for the latest on the story, we speak to the Limpopo Education MEC, Mavhungu Lerule-Ramakhanya. Good evening to you, MEC, and thank you for your time. What explanations are you getting tonight about what could have caused the sickness of the children?
Thank you so much, and good evening to you and to the viewers. The latest that we have on the process of the investigation is that our health officials, our teams from the department, especially those that works with the service providers and also within the NSP, have visited the school. We have taken samples of the water that has been used to prepare the food. We have also taken the samples of the food that the learners have eaten, the porridge, the fresh milk. We have also taken samples of the snacks that the vendors that are at the school are selling. We have got 3 vendors that are selling there at the schools. We have taken samples to go and check what is happening. You will remember that on each meal that is prepared at the school, there is a mock plate that is put aside when the learners are eating, so that then if anything happens, we should be able to use those food or that plate to be able to check if there's anything wrong. So that plate, the mock plate, has been taken by the health officials to go and check them at the laboratory.
Yeah.
The other thing that I can put the community and the parents at ease is that all our learners did not sleep over at the hospital, except for 13 that the family said they want to keep them just today at home, and the rest are back at school.
And that was going to actually be my next question to you about the state of health of the children, because I read earlier that you were calling for calm among the parents and indeed the community at large, so that there is no panic. How would you describe the condition of the children right now?
Remember what we do normally after such a scare in the school. We will then today move in for the investigation, where the principals and those that are nearest to the food handlers are questioned. And then the following day, like today and tomorrow, we then take in the team that goes to explain to the other learners not to be scared anymore. Because remember, we might take this very light, and you find that the number of children that now are ready to eat is reducing because of the scare. So after the investigation, we then take in counselors to go talk to the learners, because if you actually see, you will see that our enrollment in that school is a bit high. It's actually 439. But the SGB is working closely with the principal and the educators and ourselves on behalf of the parents, so that then we can't put the blame on anyone currently, especially saying is the vendors, is this one, until the mock plate, all the things that are on the plate, they are tested at the lab.
Is this the first time that Makahlule Primary School is experiencing this?
Yes, you'll remember that this is the first time in the 6th administration. Before we went to elections, we had a similar case of food poisoning in another district, and after investigation, there was no poison that was found, and I think it was the issue of the water quality that was then used, which was from the borehole. So currently, that is why it is necessary that even the water is checked in case there was something around that. You'll remember that as Limpopo, we had a case not so long of learners in a different district that had a problem with the usage of water.
Yeah. School nutrition aside, MEC, I take note of what you have said, that water samples have been taken, which is something that would obviously be important, given that the people that are preparing this food would have possibly used that water, including the food that they are using to prepare the meal for the children. So let's put that aside, the school nutrition program. How are you going to go about dealing with the vendors that are selling snacks outside of the school premises? Because that now is outside of the school perimeters, and what is the process there that will likely be followed?
There are two issues. Remember, the vendors, even if they are going to be out, they are actually at the outside of the gate. The SGB and the principals need to know who is sitting there, because we take interest on what is it that they are selling. Because you'll remember that sometimes when there's access to drugs, access to this, people will always want to say it's because of the accessibility by people that are not known. So we as a department expect and work together with the SGB and the school to know who are the vendors that are out there. And I think we are going to extensively go into that process and also check. Remember, the vendors need to be known by the municipality to say these are small businesses, people that are selling. Do they have a license? Don't they have a license? So that then we can be able to verify the type of food that they are selling in there. There is also a program that when we deal with safety in schools, when the police visit our schools, both primary and schools, to do safety issues, they also check what the vendors are selling at the gate. So we are going to extensively deal with that so that then we can be able to take control, even though they are outside the parameters, but their customers are actually our learners. So we do work together. So we are going to zoom into that.
Yeah. So in essence, you will likely have two parallel investigations. One, it's on the NSP, that's the National School Nutrition Program. And then on the other hand, it's going to be the vendors. Have they given their commitment to cooperate with the investigations?
Yes, already the samples of their snacks, all the snacks that they had, have been taken. Because remember, now we can't verify which one did the children eat. So all the snacks that the vendors had there have already been taken by our health officials. So they've given that consent. Yes, indeed, we will need to move parallel the investigation, because with the NSP as food suppliers, they are expected to have a certain standard of the food that they supply. So indeed, we'll have to also go into sampling when the sampling is done and when we are checking exactly what the learners have eaten. What we did was that out of where the school is, there are other 9 schools that the same supplier is actually giving food. So we have done sampling in all the 10 schools just to check that the product that has been given is actually up to the standard that is expected by us as an institution when the supplier is giving. So the sampling has actually been done around the 10 schools, which is actually closer to our primary school, and the supplier is actually supplying all those schools, so that then we check even the level of quality that is being given, which we expect that the team, when they resolve, they would have dealt with all of that.
So as I conclude this conversation with you, MEC, tonight what you are telling us is that the parents of the children, they are resting easy, knowing that their children are out of danger, and the children themselves, the state of health, are they in the clear? I think that is what is going to be key here, is everybody on board, that everything is in the clear.
Yes, in the process that we are dealing with, everyone is on board. We take note that when an incident has happened in a school, the circuit manager needs to zoom in and becomes the leading person, so that then you don't then request the principal, who's also affected by the allegation, which which when we are investigating, maybe you also look into the cases of neglect on their part, lead this process. So our team from external who are not at the school are actually taking charge of this. And I think me and the parents currently, we are in agreement. We are okay. Our learners are okay. Today, we did not have any scare. We'll continue to give the psycho support to the learners and also the psycho support to the food handlers. Remember, even the food handlers now, because of the investigation, they might be very sensitive and now afraid to even prepare food for the learners. So we need to take all of them on board in that process, that the investigation have to happen, but you also need support in understanding that incident has happened, but we need to deal with it.
Just very briefly then, how long will these two parallel investigations go on for? When can we learn of the outcomes?
I think by next week, Wednesday, we should be able to come back to you and also to the community of Limpopo and the parents, especially in the immediate community, and say this is what we have actually found. We don't want to rush and miss what we need to get. That is the first issue. And we use this as a way of saying what has been happening here, because what is critical is that how do we avoid the similar situation to happen in the future if we get what has been identified. So by next week, you can get in touch with the communication team and we would have settled the matter and report back to the community of Limpopo on the progress.
The MEC of Education in Limpopo Province, Mavhungu Lerule-Ramakhanya, thank you very much for your time.